This is Vigilant Liberty Radio News from Independent Journal Review for January 19th. Amid reports the Affordable Care Act is working, some news about the decreased number of uninsured and the doctors who provide our health care is troubling. Roughly 60% of the people who have recently received insurance have done so through Medicaid and not the insurance offered through the Obamacare exchanges. According to studies, roughly 2/3 of doctors accept Medicaid, and they are paid significantly less for the services they provide. This means patients on Medicaid are more likely to be denied appointments or face longer wait times for care. And a poll of doctors show a majority plan to leave their practices early and are reducing daily workloads, meaning those who were previously uninsured will have a harder time finding a doctor or receiving quality care. Australian golfer Robert Allenby was kidnapped, robbed, and beaten while in Hawaii to compete in the Sony Open. Allenby was allegedly abducted from a bar Friday evening, thrown into the trunk of a car and taken to an underground parking garage where he was reportedly beaten and returned to the trunk of the car. Allenby was then dumped in a park where a man helped him get a cab back to his hotel. Allenby has earned more than $27 million through his PGA career, but hasn't won a tour event since 2001. Allenby is currently recuperating and working with the FBI to capture his abductors. The state of Oklahoma carried out the execution of inmate Charles Frederick Warner on Thursday, 9 months after a botched lethal injection in April of 2014 led the state to place a stay on executions. The case is sure to reignite the debate over the death penalty in the United States. IJ Review reports Shonda Waller, Warner's mother, said, quote, "I don't see any justice in sentencing someone to die. To me, the justice is in someone living with what they have done to you, having to live with that for the rest of their life knowing they will never walk out those bars." Warner was convicted of the 1997 rape and murder of his then-girlfriend's 11-month-old daughter. And the Clint Eastwood film American Sniper, based on the life and military career of American sniper Chris Kyle, set records during its opening weekend, taking in an estimated $90.2 million at the box office. This breaks the January record for highest grossing opening weekend, previously held by the movie Avatar in 2010. American Sniper also set the record for highest grossing January Friday opening at $30.5 million, beating out Cloverfield's 2008 record of $17.2 million. Many people on social media posted pics of long lines and stories of sold-out showings of the film. This has been Amy Curtis with your Vigilant Liberty Radio News from Independent Journal Review for January 19th.
VLR.
This show is produced by IJReview.com.
This show is copyright by VLR Media. All opinions of panelists and guests are their own and may not reflect the opinion of VLR Media, the host, or anyone else.
Let's be clear. Now let's be clear. Now let's be clear. There are no winners here. Now let's be clear. Now let's be clear. Now let's be clear. There are no winners here.
Two minds are better than one. Time for the right mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausum.
You know, on the old network, I used to get a chuckle out of the opinions of the hosts and guests, or not necessarily the opinions of blah, 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 blah. And I haven't said it on the new show yet, but I don't care about the guests. But if the opinions of Hausum and mine are not yours, you're probably barking up the wrong tree. Although, if you are barking up the wrong tree, I wish you'd call in and wrangle with us a bit. This is The Right Mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausum, who will be along shortly, by the way. If you want to ring us up today, excuse me, 412-567-6879. As I want to say, agree, tell us how great we are, disagree, tell us we're full of crap. But again, if you do the latter, then you better prove that you're not full of crap yourself. You can also listen to us live at therightmics.us. That is our website. We put up daily posts there as well. Throw a little humor in there in terms of what's going on, pictures and things that we like, that we may or may not have talked about on the show. Follow us on Twitter at The Right Mics. And again, as I said, by the way, that's MICS. Jessica, happy Monday. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, I was, but I see that Hausum just has come on time. Michael, how are you, brother?
You're disappointed, aren't you?
Dude, I told you to take the scenic route. Hausum is messaging me saying, I'll be there. I'm almost there. And I think I'll make it for 2 o'clock. And I said, dude, take the scenic route. We'll be good.
Oh, gosh, that's hilarious, man. I saw that note, and I'm looking at the clock. I go upstairs, and I'm like, well, he's going to be ticked off.
Yeah, I thought for sure you'd be here at least 10 minutes late. Anyway, tell the folks where you were.
Well, it was really fun. I was up in Culver City, sitting in studio. Dennis Miller's executive producer was honchoing his show today. Dennis took the day off. So Christian emailed me last week and said, hey, I'm going to be hosting a show for 3 hours. Would you come sit in studio and cruise along for an hour with me? So I've got to spend a little time on air with Ted Nugent, which was super fun. And then talk through a townhall.com and a handful of IJR articles that I did. So it was super fun, man.
I asked you to give the Nuge a hug for me. I'm guessing you didn't do that. But, dude, I love Ted Nugent. The Wango Tango, man, but what a free spirit he is.
Man, if we could get that guy on the radio, and I will certainly send him a message to ask him if he'd want to come on. But, dude, you just ask the guy one question, and then, boom, 40 minutes goes by. He's hilarious. He's
not only hilarious, he's very smart. Obviously, an avid gun guy, freedom-loving, liberty-loving dude. But like, I don't know, Ann Coulter and Rush Limbaugh, he just loves to piss off the left.
Oh, yeah. You know, he got in trouble, what was it, last year, or maybe it was a couple years ago, about making a comment about Obama being a subhuman mongrel.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you've ever listened to Nugent before, he uses that phrase to describe folks on the left all the time.
Right. So, but they took it went right to racism, right?
It went right to racism, right. So, part of what I had prepared to talk to him about was obviously American Sniper's huge numbers, but as well, Michael Moore's comment, because, you know, Nugent is, number one, he's from Michigan, so is Moore, but also Nugent does a lot of stuff with veterans. And the gun thing, I just thought it would be a perfect deal. And he called on national radio, was talking about Michael Moore being a subhuman mongrel. So I know that that's also going to turn into a thing, dude.
That's awesome. Hey, I do need to tell you, before we continue, I am doing my part of the show via my new MacBook Pro.
You are? So you've got it up and running to the point you feel comfortable to bringing it into real time.
I am. There's still a few things, and we don't need to talk about very long. We had a lot of stuff today. By the way, speaking of a lot of stuff, I did not mention this at the top. We have Evan Sayet, lecturer, conservative talker, writer, author, and a conservative comedian. By the way, Evan, friend of the show, he's been on the show before. I mean, has he been on with us? Maybe not. He's been on both of our previous separate shows, but Evan will be here. 3 o'clock Eastern time, so we're looking forward to that. But let me just do 60 seconds or less on setting up the Mac. There was some stuff, in fact, I have a question or two for you later, that just seemed like this is way too complicated versus a PC. But I tell you what, dude, setting up the wireless printer, I mean, a first grader could have done it. I mean, it was
Oh
just
yeah.
unbelievable. I think I pushed two buttons once I got into the preferences or system preferences or whatever. So yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. So we're good.
Yeah, cool. Good.
All right.
Happy to hear it, man.
Yeah. After you well, you didn't coerce me. You were just a strong advocate. So I suppose I'm glad I listened to you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You don't have to give me credit. I mean, you and I both know, but you don't have to give it to me. I mean, it's, Apple spends a lot of money encouraging people to give them a shot.
No, it's pretty cool. Okay, so we got some big stuff to talk about today. I mean, I want to talk about, obviously we got to talk about the tax proposal that Barack Obama has floated and will make officially at the State of the Union address tomorrow night. This whole phenomenon of American Sniper. It was projected or guessed maybe after Friday's strong opening that it might hit 80 million today for the entire weekend. It's over 90 from what I've read. But I think what we need to talk about as it relates to that is the predictable fallout from the left. You mentioned Michael Moore.
Right.
We can throw Rogan in there, Seth Rogan. But the predictable response from the left. So, I mean, maybe we should hit that first and just kind of get that out of our system.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Michael Moore, what a complete idiot.
This is not the first time. Well, yeah, I mean the morbidly obese hypocrite from Traverse City, Michigan, or at least he has a multi-zillion-dollar home in Traverse City. He actually does. I was up there a couple of years ago. He does a little theater thing in town. But this guy has used this coward term in the past. And the last time it was in reference to cruise missiles. So now he's, what did he say? I read it. Was it a tweet that his uncle was killed in World War II by a sniper? And he throws Chris Kyle and all American good guy snipers in the same category. So he busts out this coward term as it relates to Chris Kyle. Could he be any lower?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is exactly what he said. He tweeted this yesterday at just before 1 Eastern. My uncle killed by sniper in World War II. We were taught snipers are cowards. We'll shoot you in the back. Snipers aren't heroes, and invaders are worse. So that just absolutely blew up. And 5 hours later, he tweeted, But if you're on the roof of your home defending it from invaders who've come 7,000 miles, you're not a sniper. You are brave. You are a neighbor. Not
so
exactly.
Points out the hypocrisy of the gun thing with him.
Well, is he saying that if you're a sniper defending your areas from invaders that have come, so that's taking the side of the Iraqis who had their own snipers?
That's you know what, you're right.
I mean, because he's saying defending it from invaders who've come 7,000 miles. So he's taking the perspective.
Oh, see, I didn't read it, and I was looking at this other screen. You're exactly right. That is what he's saying, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now, here's the thing: is I totally get that if a family member is killed by a sniper, well, snipers are cowards. Well, the reality is that tactically, they're very important. I mean, they're up there carefully identifying potential threats to some mission or whatever. I don't know. I mean,
well, first of all, listen. First of all, screw the part about, and not your your comment. His, if your relative was hit by a sniper, it depends on the circumstances. Depends on where it happened. You know, in war, it depends on what that relative may or may have not been doing. Hell, that relative could have just robbed a bank and walked out into the street, and there were snipers on the roof ready to take him down before he killed anyone else. So, you know, that part is it's moronic. But you know, how many? You know, shoot him in the back. You know, I'm surprised he hasn't. Well, I don't even know if he's seen the movie, but it sounds that people like Sean Hannity, who I've listened to describe this movie, haven't actually said what happens. But I know there's one scene, you see it in the trailer, where there's that woman and that little girl. Have you seen that? And he has
yes, I have.
on her. Nobody says what happens because they don't want to spoil it. But these morons that